All right, how's it going today? Welcome back to the old John Deere 630 revival. This place is, I don't know if swarming is the right word, but it's something more than swarming with wasps, mud daubers, all kinds of buzzy things with spears on their butts. So we gotta be careful. Every time we grab something to try to move it, it turns out it's almost always paper wasp nest hanging under it. So that's fun. I did locate a parts kit to rebuild the fuel shutoff under here, which I've already taken some of the pieces off just to get a better look at it and figure out what I needed. I was out here yesterday doing that. Kind of put penetrating oil on a few places here and there that I might need to get into. What I didn't show you, well actually I did show it to you from behind through the grass at the end of the last video. I was putting air in these tires and discovered that, well, we have more issues. The valve stem on this, the interior Schrader valve part was just broken in pieces and coming out. And this tire is liquid filled. So it's got a two-piece kind of valve stem. We'll get into that later. I'll show you that. But I think I located the piece I need if I can get this old one to come out clean, because it's pretty corroded. So soak that down with juice. Probably soak it down with some more juice here before I get started. Got to get this shutoff valve out of here. From what I can tell online, it's a pretty common problem with these tractors in modern fuel. The ethanol in the fuel eats the seals, and plus, I mean, this is a 1958 John Deere. I mean, just time probably could have been the culprit. I don't know if this thing's ever been resealed or rebuilt, but the Viton rubber is the answer, and supposedly this kit that I've got has that. So, on the to-do list for old Poppin' Johnny today is, wow, that tire is so brand new. It's still got like a barcode showing on the tread. It's unbelievable. Brand new tires right before this thing was parked, on the rear anyway. We do have a steer tire that looks very bad, but the other three tires are really not, I mean, great shape. For today, we need to get the engine running. We need to get the shutoff valve rebuilt so that we can put fuel in the tank and not have it just run through the carburetor into the crankcase, like you saw with the last time. We got, out of a 2-gallon crankcase, we got like 4.5 gallons of oil gas mix. So, in fact, if you haven't seen that video, you might as well, we'll stick a card up here, I believe it is. Well, hopefully there's a card up there. If not, I'm sorry. You can go back in the playlist that this video is in and find that video. Probably there's a card. I don't know. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. We got to get this fuel shut off first so that we can get the engine to run and not fill the crankcase with gas, because in order to play with these valve stems on a liquid-filled tire, we need to drive the tractor to get the valve stem on the top. It's about 3/4 full of, I don't know, some kind of salt water, antifreeze, something. And so we got to get the valve stem up at the top. Otherwise, when we go to try to work on it, we're just going to get lots of liquid that we don't want that. So we got a plan, I guess you could say. We got to get to it. Hang on. I just remembered something I forgot to bring. I was going to bring some gas oil. Oh, dang it. Well, we'll see what we can find around here that might work. I can't believe that this works so well so far. I mean, I don't want to jinx myself, but can you see up in here? Really backlit probably. I took the sediment bowl out already, but this oil line that comes in right here, and then actually it comes in on this one, and then this one goes up to the oil pressure gauge, I do believe. Those look like little brake line fittings, and I just was terrified that those were going to fight me tooth and nail. 3/8 line wrench, just, I mean, I did soak them down with juice yesterday. So, super cool start. I like it when things work, at least sometimes. Today's juice flavor is WD-40. Because it's what's laying here in the barn, within arm's reach. That's why. All right, well, we've reached another point of terror. So that whole valve appears to be threaded into a port at the bottom of the fuel tank so that the fuel can gravity feed into that valve. I sure hope it's right-hand threads. There's nothing super obvious saying that it's not. But there's only one way to find out, and if we do this wrong and break that thing, then we gotta get one shipped from like Michigan or something. So I'm not stalling because I'm scared. No, not me. Worst case scenario, we break something that hasn't been made for 70 years. Yeah. 18, 360. Yeah, no pressure. No pressure. Holy mackerel. That was a great guess. 3/4 it is. If we just ease the throttle bar down, throttle rod. So, and then we say to ourselves, righty tighty, lefty loosey. And then try to ease into it and hope really hard. Hope really hard, Uncle Billy. I think it's coming loose. That's kind of unbelievable. I cannot believe it. This is going way too smooth. My dauber in my throat or something. There you go. Look at that. Look at it here. Is that a T that's threaded in? Or what? Some scraping utensil. So, oil comes in here and then goes out to the oil pressure gauge here. The oil pressure that comes in when you crank the engine acts on a diaphragm, which apparently must push this down. And in doing so, it opens up that valve in the bottom. Now the valve in the bottom, it must be where the fuel comes into the sediment bowl, which isn't installed right now, and then the fuel comes back up through the screen and out towards the carburetor. So we've got oil pressure coming in, fuel coming in, fuel going out, fuel coming into the sediment bowl, fuel going out of the sediment bowl. Well, this is my rebuild kit, and it came with no instructions. So I'm gonna make this up as I go. I guess, that's the plan. We got pieces and parts. 10 extra points if you know what that's for. Well, you're empty. What are you? Tomato boost. Got tomato fertilizer in here. It's not going in the John Deere. Carbon choke cleaner would be handy, but it's empty. 5W30 high mileage. The funnel. Oh, no, that's handy. Red Armor Echo 50-1. Well, that's probably somebody was trying to get it running, maybe? I don't know. Upper cylinder lubricant with injector cleaners. Yeah. Okay, clean room achieved. Almost. One last thing. You can make a clean room anywhere with paper towels. All right. Put that rubber down there. Ooh, it looks bad. That's probably, that rubber right behind that plunger is probably 100% of our problem. So we're gonna take out these 6 screws here, allow that plate to come off. There's a spring in there though, so we're gonna be very careful about taking that off. I don't know how much spring tension there is there, but the oil pressure hits the diaphragm, works against that spring to open, you know, to let fuel go through. So it doesn't feel like a lot of spring pressure, but anytime you're working with a captive spring, you know, you have to be careful, mindful. For one thing, you don't want it to hit you in the eye. And for another thing, you don't want it to shoot off across, you know, off the ceiling and who knows where it would ever be, you know. And then you're back to, you know, ship me a new one from Michigan. Not that there's anything wrong with Michigan. This, by the way, I got this from Steiner tractor parts. New parts for old tractors. And I say Michigan like I'm making fun of. I gotta get new parts from Michigan, but that's actually where they are. And man, they speedy quick shipped that out to me. I kind of can't believe how quick it got here. You know, I've never built one of these before, or rebuilt, or anything. So I'm just going slow and careful. But try not to let my guard down, because I know there's a spring in here. But even though I popped that top loose, nothing is trying to squish against and fly out just yet. And if you're a guy that knows how to do these and you've done a million of them, I do apologize. You're probably like, what the heck is this idiot doing? Huh. But we still got, I mean, dang it. I mean, where did that go? Interesting version of dead blow, but there we go. Dead blow hammer. These little things that are flip-flopping around. It's like pieces of straw, hay, dirt, and bug wings. Interesting. Yeah. Finally, that seal is junk. I mean, it's supposed to look like that. It's not. I don't know. What? Who? Why? Why my camera's being fruity? Anyway, we've got this blown into all of its component pieces. It's actually in really good shape for the shape it's in. Well, after running across the county repeatedly and making it back here, we now was able to locate my actually had a little free sample packet with some riffraff diesel fuel stuff that I'd used, and yeah, this stuff's great. It was trying to settle a little bit, maybe mixed it back up. It's going to be perfect. It's great for fuel lines. So we got that so that whenever we put this back up into the fuel tank, put some of that on those threads, and then also there's a little 90 plug. I took that plug out just because I wanted to see what was in there, and there's nothing, which is good. No obstructions. So that plug can go back in anytime we want, really. And I'm not 100% sure if I kick the tripod, if my camera was filming earlier or not, but I went ahead and replaced this cork gasket here. We've got a brand new rubber seal here. We've got our spring and retainer clip and everything reinstalled there. So that's functional, looks really good. And then we got the little plate that goes in, and then we'll have a diaphragm here, and the oil pressures plate will go on top of that diaphragm, and then we'll have a cover diaphragm and our cover. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty basic. But the bottom half of this, when the oil pressure comes in, pushes on that diaphragm, which pushes this button down, which opens the fuel valve. And any other time, it's got spring pressure holding it closed. So super cool, super simple. I like that. Everything's looking good so far. Kind of one of the tricks is going to be getting that threaded back into the fuel tank and ending it right at the right spot to get the oil lines to line back up and the fuel line to line back up. But I believe in us. We can do it. All right, that's officially been rebuilt. But really, we know that was officially the problem. And so, I'll go ahead and put this plug back in. A little bit of, very excitable gas oil, huh? So there's our sediment bowl. It's got a nice little recess in the top that holds the screen. The screen fits over as the inlet. And then gasket seals along with the sediment bowl. And so when fuel comes in through the middle, sediment settles down here, and whatever gets carried up into the screen, once you turn the tractor off, it can settle down and you end up with the junk in here instead of your carburetor. All right, you know what you're looking at, right? Here's our sediment bowl. We're going to be looking to see gasoline coming down into that bowl when we crank the engine. We're going to jump up. Here we go, cranking. Bring the thunder. because she's running richer than Bill Gates, but she moved. She moved for the first time and I don't know how long. Look at that. That's cool. Alright. But we ain't got all day. Stop sitting around. We got things to do. We got a fairly sketchy handyman jack up here underneath one of the 3-point hitch points. Probably extremely dangerous. Do not attempt this at home. In the world, are we going to get this to separate without, you know, utter destruction ensuing? So, I guess first I'll ask it real nice. Something is moving. If that is really that easy, holy smokes. I didn't expect that. I gotta go get the pieces out of my truck. Hang on. Pick these up over at the tractor rental supply there. About 10 bucks for 2 of them. I can't believe that thing is that loose and that easy. But anyway, they're the cores. This is a tubed tire. It has an inner tube in it. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. It's got a tube. And the tube has the outer valve stem that this threads into. And the reason it's got that kind of a setup is because it's a liquid-filled tire. Did we talk about this already? I feel like maybe we did. Not to squish the tire down because we want the liquid to stay about this high. But if we squish the bottom of the tire up, the liquid might come up to where our valve stem is. That's why I have that sketchy jack on it. Okay, now that we've covered all of that, and they're so nice and shiny and pretty, if they work, I might just do the other side too. Probably for no reason. I also need to figure out what is the tire pressure supposed to be on this. But we'll worry about that after we get this done being worried about. Because we still aren't sure 100% that this is exactly the right thing. And just like that, that's how easy that was. Here's the old one, which the internal valve stem parts. A rabbit running across the other side of that field. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that in this light, but yeah, the parts in the middle broke out of it. And not all the way out, just enough to leave part of it stuck in there and make it worthless. But now we can air up that tire. So now I need to figure out what do we air these tires up to. So let me study the owner's manual a bit. I hope it tells me in there. I think everything should come with that kind of valve stem cap. It's got a nice little gasket in it. It's made of metal, probably the finest Chinese pot metal. It's got knurling on it so you can get a grip on it. And it's got the tool built in. Man. Let me tell you a story about the tractor. So, specifications page in the owner's manual. This being a John Deere 630 general purpose. The standard tractor has a wide front end. This has got the narrow front end, so it's a general purpose. In the performance specifications, its capacity for work is 4 14-inch plow bottoms, or a 4-bottom better under most conditions. The gasoline engine that this one has is rated at 48.68 pulley horsepower and drawbar horsepower 44.16. She's got a 6-speed gearbox on her. First gear with these tires, which are 13.6 by 38s, 13.6 38, however you say that. Yeah, first gear 1.5 miles an hour, second gear 2.5, third gear 3.5, fourth gear blistering 4.5 mile an hour, fifth gear 6.5 mile an hour, and sixth gear things get way out of hand because it doubles almost from fifth gear to sixth gear to 11.5 miles an hour. And reverse is kind of rocking along at 3 miles an hour, which is about the same speed as third. Engine speed under load maxes at 1125 RPM. You can fast idle it up to 1260 though to warm it up. Bore is 5.5 with a stroke of 6 3/8 to giving you a displacement of 302.9 cubic inches. And has a compression ratio of 6.5 to 1. Gravity feed, natural draft duplex type carburetor, oil wash, air cleaner. Clutch, hand operated 4 10-inch dry discs. These are selective type, straight spur cut, forged and heat treated. Axle diameters are 3 1/8 inch. They're running on 4 tapered roller bearings. And you can get them with regular or long. Not sure which ones these are. Anyway, I don't know if I'm ever going to find the air pressure at this rate. Let me keep looking. Tidy up a couple of things and let's take this old girl out for a ride. Bring that sweet, sweet thunder. I'd love to clean this dirt out of here. But I'll have to do that some other time. Cause I gotta get home pretty soon, getting ready to go on a float trip. So Father's Day weekend, me and the boys fishing, floating. It's a good time. You should get out and do things, especially with your kids if you got them. Anyway, isn't it beautiful? Let me get out of the way here so we can just admire the old girl out in the sun. Carburetor dialed in. We got smoke coming off the something on the engine. Oh boy. Yep. Alright, let's get moving before it catches on fire. 68, 78, 88, 98, 2008, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 65 years old.